We're back with the Heisman winner, Tim Brown, but also joining us is Seth Maust. He's the co-founder and the COO of an organization called 5 Star Life. Seth was just with us on the Harvest Show a couple of months ago. Recapitulate for our viewers exactly what 5 Star Life is.
Sure. Well, in a nutshell, there's an epidemic happening that most people are unaware of. 7,000 students drop out of school every single school day in this country. That's wow. If you take one school desk, stack it on top of another, you'd reach the top of the entire Empire State Building. Do that 12 times, and that's what 7,000 students dropping out every day looks like. So we combat that by going into public schools, and we target at-risk students. We're working with about 2,500 students in the Michigan, Indiana area. Just started down in Texas as well. But we really have a couple objectives. It's academic accountability. So over 70% of the students that go through 5 Star raise their GPA or maintain a 3.0 or above. So it's academics, and then it's character and values and volunteers who mentor students. So that's a nutshell of what we do.
So that's an incredible statistic. I had no idea that 7,000 students a day dropping out in the U.S. What are some of the motivating factors you find behind that? I mean, that's epidemic right there.
Yeah, it's an epidemic. I mean, students don't say, today's the 19th of August, I think it's a good day to drop out of school. What happens is, and I talked to the state superintendent, he summoned me down to his office a couple years ago and said, the results you're getting with 5 Star, we need to increase these across our schools. How are you doing this? We call middle school the black hole because, yes, students drop out their freshman or sophomore year. That's the dropout bubble of high school. But they check out in middle school. Why? Because in middle school they start to get behind. They start to feel like they're dumb or they're slow and it's just not for them. Instead of what the truth is, it's just hard work. It's discipline. And then they just check out and then they end up getting with the wrong people. The rest is history.
Tim, you're up here because you participated in a golf outing yesterday, and we have some footage of that courtesy of our friends over at WNDU in South Bend. But as we look at that footage, tell me, what is it that appeals to 5 Star from your standpoint? I know you've been involved in mentoring for a long time, as you mentioned.
Well, it's the literacy program. It's the fact that you get an opportunity to really teach kids. All these studies, come from when kids are 9, 10 years old, and they realize by then it's the same data that the prisons use. Why they're going to build more prisons, by the time you're 9 or 10, they realize, hey, but when you're 18, you're going to be done. So we need to build more prisons to get ready for you because we see now at this age you're not going to be ready. So for me, to be able to get in, I understand the importance of an education. So Heisman, all this stuff. The Heisman helps, at this particular point, but when I walk into a room, I better know what I'm talking about, and I better know how to get things done, And I think the discipline of getting an education, man, teaches you all those things. So, so from that standpoint, if we can get these kids, man, to just understand, just hold on, and just fight through it, be disciplined, like Seth is saying. And once you get to the other side, you'll realize how important it is to have done this.
And Seth, how does the 5 Star program work? You're in the schools, are you also in the homes and in the community with the kids that you've taken under your wing as well?
Yeah, so we go right to the public schools. So we don't have a drop-in center. I mean, we go to where they're at, which is why we have so many students. They're not having to find transportation.
And you're starting in middle school?
It starts in middle school because, the statistics are really clear. I mean, it's middle school and after school that kids are slipping through the cracks. 85% of, all juvenile crime takes place between 2 and 7. Most kids are experimenting with drugs, do so in middle school. So, and Tim pointed out earlier, I mean, one of the powers of what we do with 5 Stars, we bring our mentors, we call them coaches, into the school with us. And he talked about the influence of Coach Holtz.
Yeah.
If Coach Holtz wouldn't have saw something in Tim and then brought that out of him, and that's what the definition of educate is to draw from within. That's what Coach Holtz did. He educated him on who he was. That's what our volunteers are doing. That's the power of 5 Star Life.
Well, if Coach Holtz were here, he'd say, it begins with trust, love, and commitment. and really, that's kind of what you're trying to echo through.
You've been there way too long.
That's it. And the other part is the spiritual component. I know this is a big part of why Tim believes in us, not just the academic, but also the spiritual side. Over 90% of the students that come to 5 Star and go to our leadership camps in the summer give their lives to Christ. Just 2 weeks ago, as we were wrapping up our summer leadership camps, and we had this little girl, she watched her mother kill herself. and her dad's doing the best he can to raise her. And she came to our leadership camp after a year of 5-star, and she's in camp, she's in the session, she gives her life to Christ. At the end, she's running around the room telling every one of our coaches, I'm free, I'm out of the cage, I'm free. This is a girl that doesn't go to church. She doesn't have the Christian vernacular, but that's just, she's just
how she felt.
Echoing how she felt.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah, no question.
What about interactions with the parents, be it one, be it two, be it none, and you're talking with auntie or uncle or grandma or grandpa, whatever it may be. How is your interaction with where these kids go home at night?
You know what, it's really phenomenal. I hear so many negative things about, parents this, parents that. I haven't experienced that. I mean, the parents that we have are so engaged. They may have their own issues, just like we all do, but I've never met one parent that didn't love their student. Yeah. And all the parents that are involved with 5-star, they have to sign a consent form to get them in. So they're fighting for their student. Whether they're working 2 jobs and have very little time to pour into them, that's another question. But we try to support them instead of nag them. And they respond really well. And they say, how else can we take steps with 5-star? So they volunteer, they serve, they get involved in that way too.
Mm-hmm. Now, I can hear skeptics who will say, well, that's in South Bend, Indiana. That's kind of a smaller town. You've been in Dallas, you've been in LA. Are the problems that Seth and the students here encounter in South Bend any different than the ones encountered anywhere else?
No, it's no different at all. I think, and that's the amazing thing about this program. I believe that what we're going to be able to do, not only in this area, but around the country, is just going to be amazing. You guys mentioned parents a second ago. The one thing I realized, and it freaked me when I was 25 years old, was my father was doing the best that he could do. Not the best that he should be doing, but the best that he knew how to do. Yeah. And once I realized that, man, it just really changed me and my father's relationship. So, I think with these kids, man, again, I mean, you're just trying to keep them in the cocoon, just trying to keep them, because once they get out and they start doing all this crazy stuff, it gets really difficult to bring them back. But if we can just keep them there long enough for them to understand the importance of what we're trying to teach them, I think it'll make a big difference for them. So.
Well, we appreciate you both being here. Good luck with the 5-star program here. And Tim, thanks a lot for being with us. By the way, where's that Heisman Trophy?
Oh, it's still, I built my house around the Heisman. Heisman goes here.
Great to see you once again. To connect with Tim and Seth, we encourage you to go to our website. That's harvest-tv.com. And when we come back, author, preacher, and a sought-after speaker, Robert Slaridan, shares what it was like to be mentored by Dr. Lester Sumrall and by Oral Roberts. The Harvest Show continues after this.